We've all been told you can't fail a C&P exam. It's not pass or fail. And that's exactly why so many veterans lose their claim and don't get the benefits they've earned and they deserve. Let me show you in this video 3 ways you can fail a C&P exam and exactly what to do to make sure you never do. I'm going to cover things like the doctor's appointment delusion, the grading scale blind spot, and show you the secret grading language that examiners use and send to the VA, and the tap out temptation. Would you consider subscribing to my channel and help me reach as many veterans as possible? Would you also consider liking this video, sharing it with anyone you think it may benefit? And please drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. Can you fail a C&P exam? What's your opinion? And let me know where you're watching from. I want to give a special shout out to our veteran family, to veterans watching these videos from all over the United States and all around the world. It's an honor to have you on this channel. Thank you so much. Well, let's get started. You can fail your C&P exam the second you walk in for care instead of showing up to represent your claim. So a lot of veterans show up to the C&P exams under the doctor appointment delusion. They show up like this is a medical visit. After all, a lot of times it is in a doctor's office, and they don't realize this is a claim review. A lot of times veterans, we think the examiner is our ally when they're actually a fact checker. They're not there to treat you on that day and that time, even in a medical office. They're there to verify or deny what you claimed. So you filed a claim with the VA at some point in some time, and when you filed that claim, you basically told the VA a few things. You told them, I have a current medical condition, a disability, something I used to be able to do before my military service, but I can no longer do today. You also told them it was caused or made worse because of my time in service, and it still affects my daily life today. The VA then orders this C&P exam, compensation and pension, so that a medical examiner, supposedly independent, wink, can decide whether those 3 things are true or not. And they're going to give an opinion back to the VA. So you're not here for a checkup. You're not here for a physical. You're here to prove what you claimed with the VA. So what happens when we fall for the doctor appointment delusion? Well, a lot of times we walk in as veterans and we expect that examiner, because they are a medical professional, to actually already know my story, just like my private doctor or my private nurse practitioner, and they may not. They are supposed to review your records ahead of time, but a lot of times we know that they don't. And so we walk in kind of in that expectation that everything's just going to work out if we just follow the process. And often, more likely than not, it doesn't work out. And we also fall for this when we talk like a patient instead of a claimant. And what ends up happening is a lot of the blanks in the examiner form are not filled in, to our detriment. So what can you do to make sure you don't fail the C&P exam because of this? Well, a few things. Make sure to upload all of your evidence before the exam, your private medical records, your timelines, your lay statements, your personal statements in support of a claim. Also, bring a short summary with you to the appointment, when it started, how it's continued, the limitations and impacts on your life, so that you can remember what to share. Speak clearly, not casually, and you don't want to talk about things on your best day. A lot of the advice we receive from other veterans, and I think it's good advice, is talk about how this situation is on your worst day. So to make sure that you don't fall for the doctor's appointment delusion, walk in ready to confirm what you claimed, what happened, what caused it, and how it affects you now. So once you understand the goal of this exam, why you received this invitation, and what the purpose of it is, the next step is knowing how the examiner scores that proof, the C&P grading scale. So the second way that I believe you can fail your C&P exam is the grading scale blind spot, where most veterans don't realize the C&P exam is first of all about the examiner evaluating what you claimed and then giving the VA an opinion of whether or not they believe that what your current condition is was caused in service or aggravated by your time in service? And if so, how much it impacts your daily life today? When you understand the grading scale, you can make sure during your exam that you guide the connection in the room, that you keep pointing back to it, that you bring up your in-service event more than once during the exam, that you describe your current symptoms, that you describe your impact, and you restate key points if they are skipped during the exam. The examiner's job is to write the opinion, officially called the nexus, the link, or the bridge. But your job is to make sure they have all the information they need so that they can write that opinion to where they can grant you that in-service connection. Now, technically, you don't fail a C&P exam. There's not a grade on it. However, you can fail to link your current condition to your in-service event. And when that happens, your claim will be denied. And in my opinion, if that's not failing the exam, I'm not sure what it is. What do you call it? So real quickly, let's take a look at the grading scale that these examiners use and the 4 different opinions they can send to the VA. To make it easier to remember, I'm kind of labeling them the good, the bad, and the ugly. So there's 2 good opinions, there's 1 bad one, and then there's 1 that's ugly. So the first good one is it's at least as likely as not 50% or greater probability that this veteran's current disability was caused in service. The examiner logic is there's enough proof that this could have started in service and nothing else rules it out. Your job as a veteran is to make sure that you keep your timeline clean and your story consistent during the exam. This is where most wins happen for veterans winning their disability claims, not because they proved it 100% certainty, but because they made it undeniable. The second good opinion is more likely than not, greater than 50% probability. This basically is your home run opinion. This is the best you can get. And what this means is the examiner looked at your claim, examined you during your exam, everything lines up. What your job as the veteran to get this opinion is to connect the dots clearly. So let's look at the bad grade, if you will, and that is less likely than not. Less than 50% probability that this veteran's current condition was caused or aggravated in service. Okay, and what the examiner is saying with this opinion is evidence doesn't link current condition to in-service event, injury, or illness. Something else may fit better. They look for service era symptoms, and if they don't see that you went to sick bay or sick call, which most of us didn't, at least back in my day we didn't, they see long gaps after discharge of getting care, and then they look for other causes like age, injury, lifestyle, weight, things like this. And then they look for contradictions in your statements or your notes. And if you don't have those records, and a lot of us didn't, then what you need to do is make sure you fill your file up with personal statements in support of a claim, buddy statements, lay statements from your family, your spouse, and others. Your job as a veteran is to fill those gaps and to remove that doubt so that you can at least bring that up to a 50-50 chance and you don't get hit with the less likely than not opinion. And here's the ugly opinion, and that is cannot determine without resorting to speculation. Meaning the examiner says, I don't have enough information to make a call either way. There's missing records, there's unclear history, records are incomplete or conflicting. They look for things like missing or unclear medical history, unclear diagnosis or overlapping causes, no documented event or exposure. And what our job as veterans is to upload everything before the exam and bring a 1-page timeline to the appointment to make sure that if there are any questions, you can help that examiner put all of that together. The difficulty of this one, why I called it the ugly one, is it typically either gets denied by the rater or it gets bounced back and it starts the ping pong or pinball effect, and that condition is just going to get lost in the shuffle. It's going to be very difficult to win. So now you know the goal of the exam, you know how they score you and grade you during the exam, but what if you have a bad exam? Or what if you get a low ball rating or a no ball rating and a denial, and you know honestly that your current condition is service connected? That's where most vets fall for number 3, the tap out temptation. They let one examiner or one exam decide their future. They're not prepared for the long haul. Even if your exam goes sideways, and I had a couple go completely sideways, completely out of my control, your claim isn't over. You still control what happens next. Yes, the examiner is in charge of that one event at that one day and that one time, but there are accountability options available, and I challenge you to hold that examiner accountable and hold the process accountable. If you have a bad exam, here are some things to do immediately. Write down what happened right after the exam. Call the VA 800 number and request a new exam and verbally tell them everything that happened. Fill out a personal statement in support of a claim, explaining exactly what happened, and upload it to your claim file immediately, the same day if possible. Call the contractor and request a new exam with them. Then we need to get up off the mat and re-engage in the process. Don't give up, don't tap out. I encourage you, visit your VSO, your Veteran Service Office, or your regional office. Ask to see your exam report as soon as it's available. A lot of times a VSO can either show you their screen or they can give you a printout of that exam results, even before you could request it with a Freedom of Information Act that may take forever. Real quick, I want to cover some of your options after a bad exam, a low ball rating, or even a denial. You can do things like a higher level review. You can have a senior rater take a second look, same evidence, fresh eyes. In this case, you're saying the VA made a mistake and I know it, and I want them to look at it, a senior rater to look at it, because I absolutely believe it's going to go in my favor. You could also do a supplemental claim where you have new and relevant evidence and you add the missing proof that the first examination didn't have. You can also appeal to the Board of Veterans Appeals. This is where you want a veterans law judge to review the entire case when you've got strong evidence and the VA keeps screwing it up. And in cases where it's very complicated and you know you should win this claim, but you keep struggling, I would encourage you to reach out to a good consultant, to an accredited agent. A veteran service officer is where I would encourage you to start. When I went through my claim, I didn't use any of those, to be honest. But as I've started this channel 4 months ago and have been interacting with veterans, I've come to realize there are cases where you get into where we as veterans do need help to win those claims. So just know, whatever happens, if you have a bad examiner, if you have a bad exam, you're not stuck. Don't tap out. Don't quit. You've got a lot of tools available to you. Would you please consider subscribing to my channel and help me reach as many veterans as possible? Also, would you consider liking, subscribing, drop me a comment, let me know where you're watching from, and I'll see you on the next video.